Good morning, YouTubers. Today we are going to talk about repairing the classical fist through the sheetrock eyesore. If you haven't seen this, then you have no reason to watch this video. Okay, so first of all, we need to assume that the hole is bigger on the back side of the sheetrock than on the front. I can feel that it angles back this way. We want to get a basic measurement for what our patch needs to be. So we look here, we're about 7-8 inches, and height 6 inches ought to cover it. So we're going to cut a patch, a 6 by 8 inch square to replace this. Now a lot of rookies would go ahead and cut this out first and try to fit their square to that. We're going to do the reverse. We're going to cut a square out first out of our sheetrock, and then we'll show you how to fit the hole to the patch instead of the patch to the hole. Alright. So get a spare piece of sheetrock. If you don't need to buy a full sheet. You can go to the hardware store. They've got leftovers or scraps. They'll charge you $1. You can get a little piece like this. We're going to measure out 6 by 8 inches here, and you get your classic sheetrock tee, a good blade. We're going to cut this straight across. You don't need to cut all the way through. Once you've pierced the paper, you can come to the back and simply fold it over. Then you take your knife, cut the last piece, and there's our 6 inches. There's our 8 inches. And we'll do the same thing. Get the T across. One cut, snap, go. Now we have our patch block. Okay, we've got our square. We're going to place it against the wall, center it over the hole, and we're going to trace around it. You want to be careful that it doesn't slide out of position. Trace all 4 sides. There. Okay, now that we have our pattern, you need a basic sheetrock saw. These are very handy. You could cut this out with your knife, but it takes a lot more time. We'll start this in the corner here. Just get a little tap and try to keep it perpendicular to the wall. And follow that line as close as you can. You want to make sure if you've checked and looked behind the hole to make sure you're not running into any plumbing or any electrical going through here. Come back here to this corner, punch again. Out we go. You might need to clean some of this up with your knife. And you can see that our patch piece fits nicely in place there. Now the next step is going to be, how do we attach it? We did not go out to where the beams were on both sides. So we'll show you a trick on how we're going to do that. Okay, next you'll need a piece of wood, maybe a 1x2 is ideal. We're going to make this piece slightly longer than what our hole is here. About 1.5 inches on each side. You don't need a tape measure. I'm just going to mark it, and then we'll make one the same size for the bottom half. So once you've cut those, you can see here's how we're going to install them. We're going to put it in here, slide it back here. Now we've got this piece to cover our hole, and we're going to put some sheetrock screws here and here to support this. We'll do the same thing with the piece here on the bottom. Screw those in, and then we'll have something backing our patch to secure our patch to. All right, next you'll need your drill, a couple of sheetrock screws. We're going to get some pilot holes started here, about 1/2 inch or a little less above where our cut line is. We're going to put another one over here. Those aren't going all the way through yet, they're just started. Get the board we just cut, the 1x2, center it here and about halfway up, so we've still got a nice base to put our patch against. We'll hold that here, run our screws through. Now we want to slightly countersink those like you would on any sheetrock project. Get this one in. And now we're going to do the same thing down on the bottom. Screws in here. Get your 1x, center it, punch those through. All right, now we've got a great base that we can put our patch onto. So as you can see, our patch is a pretty close fit to what our hole is there. Remember, your board's going across the top here. We're just going to put a couple of screws in here to secure it, a couple of screws down here. You could glue this on all sides. I don't think that's necessary. We'll offset these just a little here. Countersink slightly. All right, the final step here, we've got to put a little mud on this. Again, make sure the screws are below the surface, that they're countersunk slightly. Get a little mud. Slap this on. We're going to cover the whole patch. That's one of the advantages of making just a small patch. I am by no means a sheetrock mudder, but it's got to be done. So give it your best shot. Cover those screws up. All right, we're going to let that dry, give it a little sand coat, and put one more finish coat on it. Okay, here we've got our second coat on here. It's going to take just another little light sanding after that dries. Again, I'm not a mudding specialist. You can get some better tips on YouTube. Also, you need to look up how to paint it, get your finishing touches on there. So the takeaways from this video are simply cut your patch piece first, put it over the hole, trace around it as a template, then cut that out. Use the 1x2s or whatever wood works for you to put your braces behind it, and then put that on there with your sheetrock screws. The idea is minimal collateral damage, quick fix. Thank you for watching.